sweet like honey when it comes to me. Skin is caramel with the cocoa eyes. Even got a big sister by the name of Chocolate Top. Brown sugar, babe. I guess high off of love, don't know how to behave.
What's poppin', y'all? It's your girl Flo'Shay, and I am back with tonight's episode of Authentic Flow. And you already know what we do. We keep it real as fuck. Shout out to everybody who has been tuning in. Y'all know every episode I'm going to always thank y'all because I really do appreciate y'all. So there was a question last night's episode for those of you that watched. And just so y'all know, I don't expect y'all to watch every episode. Um, just get to the ones that you can. Right now, I'm really just like the main reason why I'm trying to do this podathon and post every day is that so that way I can get into YouTube's algorithm and hopefully YouTube start pushing me to other like YouTubers and other people that are constantly on YouTube and things like that. So I definitely always will support I always appreciate all my supporters, but I don't expect you guys to watch every episode. Um Again, I just appreciate y'all rocking out with me and like I said, interacting with me and everything like that. So last night's episode, I asked a question. Do you believe that people with no children can give advice to people who don't? Who do? My bad. And somebody actually commented it and actually gave me their opinion on it. And I'm going to read it. Okay. And this was this person's first comment. So shout out to you, Mia. Um, so the answer is I don't think it's a black or white answer. People don't know what it's like to parent until they actually have kids, but everyone has been a child once and know how they would have wanted to be parented. Parents don't always make the right choices, so just because you have kids doesn't make you an expert. Childless people usually are childless for a reason and probably have insight from an outside perspective as well as whatever experience they have from their own parents slash people in their life. At the same time, there's parts of parenting that most childless people don't learn until they get there. Most parents have to work with what they have, and sometimes it ain't much. So it's easy to judge or give advice when you're not in that position yourself. At the end of the day, kids are human just as adults are and have their own wants slash needs. So it can be tricky raising children. You could think you're doing the right thing only for it to have a completely different effect. I think it's just important to have an open I think it's just important to have an open mind and keep focused on the success slash health of the child. And with that being said, I definitely agree with that answer. Um, because honestly, from what from what I always hear, just by from the people that are parents and things like that, they're the people everybody started off like just trying to figure this shit out. You know what I mean? So, like I said, if you are open minded and I don't know, overall I just believe like I said in the last episode, there is a yeah, I completely lost my train of thought just now. So like I said at last episode, okay, so just there's just general things I feel like, people could give you advice on or whatever. Like I can't necessarily tell you, exactly how to be a parent because like I said, I'm not a parent. But yeah, like I just totally agree with this comment. You just ultimately just have to be open minded to whatever it is. Um as a parent and just like what people are what advice people are giving you. I don't even know if that really made sense. Just know that I really agreed with this comment. Um, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do find myself like having conversations with people, because majority of my friends have kids. So sometimes I find myself having conversations like, and I'm speaking to this person, not thinking about the child or whatever. And it's just like, people will shoot back like, oh, well, you don't have kids. So it's just like, you know what? I'm not saying it in a way of like whether I had kids or whether if I didn't. I'm literally just trying to like help you out. So it's just really about whether or not if you're open minded and I mean, I don't know. I'm like my friend said, like, and nobody's an expert at parenting. We all start somewhere. So, if someone's trying to just help you out, give you a suggestion, just be open to that. So yeah, there's that. There was only one comment on that question, but like I said, I do appreciate um the feedback and actually like tuning in and giving me interaction. That is what I'm talking about, you guys. Like, so I will ask you guys a question and you guys can comment, DM me or whatever, and we can touch on that. It might take me a little minute to try to get into the whole, like, because y'all just see just now, like, I kind of was like having some brain farts. Like, my mind is just not all the way like where it needs to be. But this right here is what I like. This is an old ass iPhone, so I'm just gonna be looking off of here and reading comments and stuff like that. But this is what I like. This is definitely motivating. It lets me know that you guys are really like interested in what I'm saying and really, want to hear and give a fuck about my opinion. um so yeah, there's that. Thank you so much. Shout out to Mia for that comment and giving me your response on that. um Another thing, well, one thing that I wanted to touch base on this episode is relationships. Okay, I know y'all be like, because just know when I do this, when I do that little long blink, just know it's probably some shit. So first things first, I wanted to ask a question. Okay, question of the episode. What do you guys feel is the proper etiquette um of like your behavior? How do you feel you should act at a concert like Chris Brown, Usher, Beyonce? We're gonna throw some women out there too. Tiana Taylor, um, Carrie Hilson, those type of concerts where those entertainers are, welcoming their audience to come on stage and do whatever. So, what do you guys feel the proper etiquette for that type of situation when you're in a relationship? So, maybe I need to like dumb it down a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe you guys understand it, but I'm not saying like dumb it down because y'all just slow and y'all don't understand. But I guess I just want to go more in depth about that. So, oh, my knee, y'all. Dang, my knee. Ooh, I'm getting old, y'all. I'm getting old. So when I asked the proper etiquette, and I'm gonna put my older brother. I'm gonna put my older brother out there, whatever. Okay. Shout out to you, Marlon. Love you though. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to put you on blast a little bit. Well, not even on blast, but this question comes from him and he wants to know everybody's opinion about it because y'all, I know y'all seen the whole Usher concert, and this man was doing a damn near the freaky deaky with every all the ladies in the audience. He didn't care whether or not whether they was in a relationship or not, but that's just his job as an entertainer. He's just doing his job. So I'm not like coming for Usher or anything like that. But it so for instance, Keke Palmer, that whole, yeah, I know y'all seen it when it went viral and she was on stage with Usher, doing her little thing. She just had her baby, and I think at that time, oh no, well, she was still with her man at the time, but I think he was at home with the baby. And Keke Palmer was enjoying herself. You know what I mean? Um, Now, if I must be all the way transparent and not biased, I will say there is a proper etiquette when you're in a relationship. Yes, there I do believe there is a certain way that you need to be acting at these concerts, no matter who the entertainer is. You know what I mean? Like now, me, I was like, okay, if it was Brent Fayez, y'all know I love me some Brent Fayez, but no, 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 no. Honestly, like the mature me, I would honestly say like, um there is a there you if a man listen, and I've gotten like, men's perspective on this. I haven't really got too many females perspective on it because I just don't know. You know what? I might need to, and we might have to touch base back on this episode 15. But I did speak to a lot of like different dudes about it, and they was like, my one friend, he like, I'm the nonchalant type of nigga. He's like, but just know whatever energy you putting out is the energy I'm gonna be putting out as well. So when they come back, you want to let Usher feed you cherries from your mouth. You want to let Usher feed you cherries or whatever, then I guess you better be all right with Beyonce feeding me cherries or bringing me up on stage and giving me a lap dance. Like I said, I don't think there's no levels to what's going on in the situation. Just like if you're in a relationship, you need to just respect your partner. It doesn't matter what the entertainer is or whatever, whatever. Because let me tell y'all, these entertainers, yeah, they be going crazy. I just seen a video. It might have been old. I don't know. Um, Now hold on now, y'all. As a single woman, do whatever you want to do. Live your best life, sister girl. As a single woman, you know what I'm saying? For real, y'all really need to be single trying to go to these Ushers and Chris Browns and all these like freaky deaky ass men. All these like freaky deaky ass men concerts, y'all need to be single for real. Because I've heard that women have been left by their men because of these like little meet and greets that Chris Brown be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all see them pictures. He don't be giving a fuck, and these girls don't either. But it's just like if you're in a relationship, you should. But as a single woman, yes, I'm hopping on Chris Brown. I'm doing all of that. But anyway, like I said, there was a video where I seen Chris Brown. He was like on top of the girl and singing to her and everything, and he kissed her. And I mean, it was pretty intimate, and it was pretty. I was like, oh shit, no. I don't even know how I would have acted, but like not in a relationship. I probably would have honestly felt disrespected, to be honest. Like, nigga, what the fuck is you doing kissing me? Like, damn, bro. I know you seen me with my nigga in this crowd, bro. What is you doing? Like, what is you doing? Dang. Like, niggas, this is just for 30 minutes. I'm only gonna see you and be on the stage for a good 10 seconds, 2 minutes. And now I gotta get off the stage and deal with my man. I got to deal with my man because you know what I'm saying, he was laying down over her and like he kissed her, you know what I'm saying? That's why I did that. But it's like I had to deal with my man. Like, nigga, you just caused a whole fucking breakup, everything. You just wanted a whole happy home. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know, cause it's kind of like a situation where it's like you could look at it this way, you could look at it one way, and then it's I know it's probably gonna be women. Well, your man shouldn't be insecure, da 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 da. And honestly, there's gonna probably be the question of like, well, why would your man let you go up there in the first place if y'all know what the fuck going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yeah, fellas, like if you really love your woman, if you really don't want to see her doing no crazy ass shit. Now, I'm not trying to justify a woman getting up there and doing what she, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like I said, it doesn't matter what entertainer, you still need to have some type of decency and respect for your relationship and for yourself for real. You know what I mean? But there's always gonna be that people that's just gonna be like, well, insecure men, da 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 da, whatever, whatever. At the end of the day, it don't even matter. Don't do what you don't want your partner to do. That's what it come down to, y'all. For real. Don't do what your partner wouldn't want. Don't do what you wouldn't want your partner to do. Period. I don't care who is in that situation, who it is, how much money they is, how much clout, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, a relationship is a relationship, and you need to respect your relationship. Period. You know what I mean? And I think that is literally like coming from the maturest part of me. Because if you would have asked me, if I would have asked y'all this 2 years ago, hell, maybe even a year ago, well, maybe not, maybe even a year ago, who knows? I probably would have had a totally different answer and probably would have totally like have a different outlook on this situation. So if y'all going to a concert, if you going into a Chris Brown concert and you in a relationship, just know it's probably gonna cause some issues, and it's really up to you how you really act in that relationship and vice versa. Like if you going, because Beyonce, first of all, she's not grabbing nobody from up the stage like Destiny Child back in the day. Yes, Destiny Child, you get what I'm saying? But Beyonce, I don't think she's just getting up there grabbing people and doing the most. It's these men nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Let me not say that because I don't want it to be like, oh my gosh, she hates men. No, I don't hate men. But recently it's been like, well, but Tiana Taylor, her concerts are, she includes men and women. And like I said, Carrie Hilson, I seen a clip of Carrie Hilson. She asked the girl, she was like, hey, now I don't know whether, like, I think I have respect for it, but it's just like she asked the girl, she was like, is that your man? Can I bring him up here, girl? And she's like, I just want to let you know this is just for entertainment. This is just for entertainment, girl. So please don't go get in the car. Don't leave here, get in the car, start an argument, da da da. We all here to have fun. So I could respect that type of, you know what I'm saying? Like, girl, I'm letting you know that it might get a little intense up here, but I'm letting you know. Don't start no argument, girl. This is just for entertainment. Look, I'm giving y'all a show. This is what y'all paid for. You know what I'm saying? But how far does the show go? You know what I mean? So, yeah. So just let me know how y'all feel about that. What is the proper etiquette um when at a concert while being in a relationship? Like how should you act at a concert while being in a relationship? You know what I mean? Whether your significant other is there or not. How should you act and how do y'all feel about that? So since we're speaking on relationships, I want to speak about letting go. There has been a lot of recently within the last couple of months, I have been dealing with, not dealing with, but a lot of people that I know have been dealing with like being in fucked up ass relationships and not knowing um, how to let go of the situation, or not even knowing how to like really process all of it, you know, because shit happens so fast. So I just want to give y'all a little tea time, whatever, story time, whatever, whatever. Now, even though I sit here and say that I need to be like a life coach or something or whatever, I'm not. But I will always speak from experience and what I've learned. You know what I mean? So sometimes I feel like when I'm speaking to people, they probably be like, girl, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about or whatever, whatever. But I've literally just am speaking from experience because I literally watch people go through the same things that I was going through when I was trying to heal through a breakup and everything like that. So it was this one situation, and I just want to give a disclaimer. I am, for the most part, I am cool with most of my exes. I'm at a mature level where it's like there's no hate in my heart for them. I'm not losing no sleep over these men. Some of them I still talk to. We're still close or whatever. And I think that we're all at a mature point in our life where it's like, I don't want you to be out of my life, but we know that neither one of us can be with each other and be the person that we feel that we need to be for each other, but we're just better as right here. This is peaceful, and that's okay. Now, not every ex I'm like that with, you know what I mean? So with that being said, there's one specific relationship that I was in, and like I said, this is one of my exes that I still talk to this day. Still, that's my dog, and really, for real, like he can call me in about any of his bitches and be like, Flo, this girl, and I ain't gonna be no whatever, but I'm gonna try to give him my best advice. That's how cool he is now. You know what I mean? Like it's way past that. And we've already talked about this situation. We've already processed where both of us went wrong in our relationship and things like that. But I just want to like give you guys how hard it was for me to, and I really didn't think that I was going to ever be able to like find another man from this situation. I didn't like, my heart was completely broken, y'all. So I was in a relationship. Long story short, I was holding somebody down in jail, right? POP, hold it down. But anyway, I was holding somebody down in jail, and I was young. I was probably like 20, 21 at the time, and I was holding this dude down. I was going to go visit him in jail, driving 3 hours away to go visit him. In jail. You guys, I guess I'm almost like self-incriminating. I did some very illegal things. I did some illegal things or whatever for this man while he was in jail, and then I ended up basically getting in a relationship with someone that I knew from my past. Um, mm, and how we ended up meeting was a very tricky situation, but that's here nor there. I'll explain it maybe in another episode. It was a very tricky situation, but at the time he was living with his baby mom, and this is when I had just started stripping. I had just started working at the strip club, and like I said, he was living with his baby mom, and at that time I was sleeping in my car, you guys, like um and I was homeless, I will say, by choice. I was homeless by choice. It's not like I didn't have nowhere to go. I just mm, okay. If I sit here and think about it, yeah, I didn't have nowhere to go. Yeah, so that's why I was sleeping in my car, and that's just that was just that. So we ended up like reconnecting on Facebook years later, because I had met him years before, probably 5 years prior to all of us, or prior to us getting back together. And we ended up reconnecting on Facebook. Um, and then that was that. He was reaching out, wanting to help me in my situation. Mind you guys, I was sleeping in a car holding a nigga down, and I was in college as well, and I also had a full-time job. I stopped going to school to be the stripper or whatever. So when I started stripping, it was really to try to help my nigga that was in jail. Like, I'm like, I mean, I need more money to put on this nigga books. So it's like I need something faster and more money, like, and that way. And in that situation, I was really just trying to prove my love and loyalty to a nigga that was just dumb. That you guys, that situation is a whole whoo, that situation is an full episode in itself. But anyway, so that's the reason why I started stripping. And the dude, my ex boyfriend at the time, he was, was like, "Oh, I really like you. I've always liked you, and I wanted to help you with that situation." And and he was doing for me that my ex boyfriend that was in prison couldn't do for me at the time. So I was like, okay, well, he's doing this. He's like getting my car fixed. He's doing this. He's da da da. So but mind y'all, I told you he was living with his baby mom. His baby mom was I won't say anything like too crazy or nothing like that because you just never know where this video would end. But at the time, I just don't feel like she was the strongest person in the world. You know what I mean? So I ended up staying with him, his baby mom, and y'all already know based on, I mean, I'm sure y'all can figure out how that shit ended up. He ended up basically like, I mean, like I said, he always has had feelings for me. So when he seen that I was in the strip club and I was getting my bread and I had ambition and I was trying to do this and I was doing that, y'all, like when I started stripping, I was on my shit, like I was, getting to it. And it's kind of like I was doing all the things that his baby mom wasn't. You get what I'm saying? And mm, yeah, that's yeah. But anyway, so I ended up falling in love with the man. There were drugs involved in the situation, cocaine to be exact. And he's the one that introduced me to it. I started stripping, and that was one of the biggest things that kind of like put a wedge between me and my dude that was in prison because he was like, "Oh my God, you freaking um you started stripping, you finna start doing drugs and this and the third." And I was like, I reassure you that I'm not finna start doing drugs. And then I ended up getting into drugs, and then after I started the cocaine, doing all that, me and him used to, my ex, the one I'm talking to you guys about, me and him used to indulge in these activities together. And honestly, the reason why I had started doing drugs at that time because I was just like, well, it in my mind at the time it made me more money in the strip club. So long story short, we ended up getting into the drugs, doing the drugs together, and that played a major part as to why our relationship was the way it was, and it was toxic. And like I told y'all before, he was living with his baby mom. One day we it was some crazy shit going on. And now, mind y'all, I didn't have feelings for this man at first when I first moved in with him and his baby mom. But then we started doing things. We started going on like little dates and stuff when his baby mom wasn't around and things like that. And like I said, he was doing things for me that my ex couldn't at the time. So I was just like, oh my gosh, I really, I was just feeling that. And then just to speed up the process, like long story short, his baby mom ended up finding out. We ended up getting kicked out of the house, and then we ended up moving into you know, um, his uncle's house and things like that. And honestly, I we thought that this was finally the way for us to really be happily to be together, and we were going to do that. But mind y'all, like I said, drugs played a major factor into our relationship. So when we moved into his uncle's house, it wasn't peaches and cream. It was not happy. Everybody in that household was doing drugs at the time, and so it was just a lot of toxicity going on in that situation. But I ended up very much getting in my feelings, and I fell in love with him. And you know what they say, you lose him how you got him. And he ended up basically, after 4 months, he ended up basically leaving me at his uncle's house, basically unannounced. Or it was just like, yeah, I'm gonna go kick it with my baby mom. Like, we were already kind of at odds at this point. We were like, just complete at odds at this point. And one day he was just like, I'm finna go with my baby mom. Baby mom came and picked him up, and he just left me at his uncle's house. And I was just sitting there, and pretty much was just like, that was that. Um, Now, it was an abusive relationship. He was putting his hands on me. And like I said, it was toxic. I was doing some toxic things as well. So when he left with his baby mom, I just took that as a sign for me to just go back to my mama house, even though I really, at the time, did not want to go to my mama house. But I just took that as a sign, as, this is my opportunity to leave, so I need to leave. But let me tell you, when I went to go live with my mom, it was the hardest thing ever. As far as like letting go, and I really couldn't eat. It was like I went through this real depressive state, and I honestly didn't think I was going to ever make it out of that situation or whatever. I didn't think I was going to ever get over that man or whatever. And look where I'm at now, guys. I'm here. I'm happy. I'm well, and I'm not doing drugs. I'm without. Like I said, there's no beef towards my ex or anything like that. But the moral of this whole story is that you guys will get through the breakup. You have to be willing to face that pain that you will go through in the process. It's a part of the process, and it's like, you know that saying, trust the process. That is a real freaking saying. Like, you have to trust the process. At the end of the day, you have to choose yourself. What, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna start loving you first? Because it's like, staying in a situation that you know is no good for you is honestly hurting you more than if you leave the situation. A lot of people don't want to deal with that pain of having to let go. And so they stay in a situation and toxic and stay miserable and depressed and unhappy. And you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's really up to you. How bad do you want it? You know what I'm saying? I've had multiple situations and multiple relationships where I was um, stuck, and I really allowed the love that I had for them overcome the love that I had for myself, and that is what allowed me to stay. So let me just tell y'all this. If you're in a situation where you know you need to leave, first of all, if it's a situation where you know that this person is treating you wrong and they're not there, don't let nobody tell you, show you more than one time. And I think I've said this in a previous episode. Don't let nobody show you, tell you more than one time that they don't want to be with you, they don't love you, they're not rocking with you the same way. Don't be that. You know what I'm saying? Because that is going to cause more pain. You allowing, and then you keep going back into the situation, maybe with pride, or you just literally just blindly going in there thinking like, okay, well, if I just keep staying in this situation and hey, that's my man. I'm standing beside him as female or person, as man. You know what I mean? Like, then it's kind of like at some point you're kind of asking for everything to happen to you, and you can't really have a pity party. You can't really have, because motherfuckers is only gonna do what you allow. You know what I mean? So at some point, it does hurt to let go, but it hurts way worse to continue to stay in the situation that you know is no good for you. Um, yeah, so that's all I have to say with that. And I want to prepare you guys for tomorrow's episode, tonight's or tomorrow night's episode. And that's kind of why I brought up the stripping things, because the tomorrow's episode is going to be, I'm going to get a little bit more in depth about my stripping life and the path that led down to. And I'm very excited, but I'm also kind of nervous because, like I said, this is a transparent episode for me, and I'm choosing to I'm choosing to be vulnerable with you guys, and I just hope that it goes well. Um, so yeah, before I get to rambling and just talking too much, I am going to head out. That is it for tonight's show. And with that being said, y'all, I am out. Peace, love, and hair grease. Mwah. Oh, yeah, and y'all got to get a little fit check. Fit check, fit check. So fresh, make your bitch sweat. Hey.